As you're all aware, my government has identified 4 key pillars, which we call the Big Four. Pillars that will drive growth in agriculture, health, housing, manufacturing.
Thanks to the president's Big Four agenda, currently most housing conversations are centered on affordable housing. However, not all Kenyans can hit the 1.5 million price point. To this end, Honorable Gerald Githinji, former Deputy Governor Kiambu County, pointed out that affordable housing should cut across the economic segments in the country.
A lot of times when you are developing houses, there were rules that said this is the material you have to use for the walls, these are the materials you need to use for the roofing, and so on. Over time, technology has overtaken some of that thinking, and maybe we have not been as fast in creating the environment to accommodate the new technology. And that's what I was talking about earlier. If you think about what does somebody need, not what they want and all the bells and whistles, what do they need in a house? A place where you can sleep comfortably without interruption by the weather. A place where you can eat, a place where you can cook, and maybe a small space where you can have friends come in and sit down and entertain. To achieve that, you then need an environment where it is secure. So if your house is your main source of security, you will need the 9-inch walls. But if the area you're living in is secure, you have a complete community that is secure, that does not steal from you, and that does not come to attack you, then the need for your shelter becomes reduced. And you can get to a price range where you can be able to, everybody in Kenya can be able to afford. So I spoke to Nick Langford of Tatu City earlier, and he said they can deliver a 200,000 shilling house. The material will be maybe a 1 centimeter thick wall. It will have protection from the rain, protection from the sun, protection from sound. So if you can do that, then you have the foundations for what our future low-cost housing will be.
Look at a country like Japan. However, for affordability to cut across the board, Nick Langford, country head Tatu City, noted that the cost of land must be addressed urgently.
Actually, the build cost is not the prime problem here. It's actually the cost of the land. And actually, the other issue is that because the land cost around Nairobi is very high. We were learning this morning from the former Deputy Governor of Kiambu County that the cost of land in Kiambu has gone up tenfold in the last 10 years. That just sort of demonstrates the fact that there's huge demand for land. Once you have the price point of the land that is currently available in Kiambu, there's no way you can deliver a house on a piece of land for 1.5 million. It's not feasible. So how do you do that? You can only do that with government providing the land for free or for a massive subsidy. This is the only way. Also, the cost of the infrastructure, water and power and roads and proper drainage and proper ICT, which we all want to live with these days. That, of course, requires considerable investment.
Position on the flag.
Affordability equally goes beyond acquisition. Job Kabuye, chairperson Kenya Green Building Society, said that the cost of maintenance and resource recycling should be keenly looked into.
From the Kenya Green Building Society's point, we want affordability to be properly defined so that we understand that affordability both at the acquisition of the house as well as affordability during the use of the house, because it doesn't make sense to buy a house cheaply but then very expensive to maintain, to the point that you completely neglect maintenance and the house falls apart. We have to make sure that affordability is throughout the life cycle of a particular house. In other words, we have to take into consideration what can actually be able to deliver this affordability throughout the life cycle. And this is where some of these green building principles come in, that is resource efficiency and resource regeneration. Can we have infrastructure systems that help to regenerate? For example, if it is sewer systems, can we have recycling systems? Because These kind of systems make sure that you recover some water, which means you minimize the need and use for potable water, and you limit it just to potable uses. And then when you talk about energy, we're talking about using renewable energy. And renewable energy will also, if that's the direction you're going to take, let's also think of financing models that can actually help us to get that in place. When you talk about solid waste, why don't we have systems that encourage behavioral change and lead people to actually get this practice of recycling waste, because it's definitely sure that when you recycle waste and you recover some of those materials, you can sell some of those materials and you get some money that feeds back into something.
Technologies.
While a vibrant real estate sector might look like a far-fetched dream, Hon Githinji was optimistic that it can manifest if proper systems and structures are put in place, together with timely research backed up with data.
To get simple things like a permit. Before it was a convoluted, a long process. But we created with the World Bank a process that an architect will do the drawing, the engineers will do the BQ, will do the PQs and do all the designs. And once all the designs were ready, they are sent to Kiambu County online. A team would sit down, and within a week, they have a feel of whether that is the right thing. They'll send some questions, some clarifications, some adjustments, which are within the laws that are there at the moment.
We have voted the approval the government has.
To this end, Langford equally says the government needs to come on board and offer full support to its investors.
To raise the bar has to do with initiatives in terms of financing. And I think that the government certainly has a huge willingness to deliver solutions or ideas. And I think we as the private sector should be working with those individual ideas to deliver the housing. I think a little bit of uncertainty at the moment in exactly what the government is doing. I mean, there are a lot of initiatives. Maybe we'll find out later this morning from the PS about housing, about the actual status of some of those initiatives, which are in terms of tax rebates, there in terms of guaranteed offtake. Good solutions, by the way. And we want to work with the government to be able to offer affordable housing, because we have workers in the factories who are earning money, which is salaries, which is insufficient to pay for housing in the $1.5 million and above price bracket. So of course we need to provide housing solutions for that to be catered for.
How affordable is affordable? As conversations on affordable housing broaden, it is critical that all stakeholders address the concerns therein in order to deliver not only affordable but sustainable housing to Kenyans.